Magandang araw, Podmates. Medyo malungkot ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon pero kailangan pag-usapan. 2 mass school shootings within 2 months. Ang una sa Tacloban, Leyte noong Hunyo at ito lang 18 ng Agosto sa Zamboanga City. Both perpetrated by teenagers. Minors. Nakakapangilabot, nakakaiyak, mahirap maunawaan. Condolences sa mga pamilya ng mga nasawi at sympathies din sa mga pamilya ng perpetrators. Dahil alam natin they are probably as shocked and as sad as anyone else. To help us understand what this could all mean, kasama natin ngayon ang isang psychologist, member ng Psychological Association of the Philippines, isang practitioner, at crisis response specialist, si AJ Sunglao. Magandang araw sa iyo, AJ, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sir Howie.
So AJ, 2 deadly incidents in schools in 2
Yeah.
months committed by students themselves, minors. As someone who has studied youths and their psychology, ano bang iniisip mo ngayon?
Una muna nun, this is something na parang di natin naisip. Siguro before the first incident in Tacloban happened, before today, unthinkable ito. Kasi kahit may mga kaso na tayo before ng violence sa school, ang madalas ay nagdala ng mga patalim, nagbubugan, mga ganung mga bagay. Ito talaga parang kakaiba. At iba rin ngayon yung takot at kaba na iniiwan nito pagkatapos ng mga insidenteng ito. Siyempre, daming mga tanong, lalo na kung paano nangyari ito, saan nagkulang, at ano ngayon mangyari sa ating mga kabataan dahil sa mga pangyayaring ito.
Okay, well, kailangan natin bigyan ng distinction itong mga school shootings na naganap sa Tacloban at Zamboanga, no? They're being called mass school shootings, no? Mukhang walang tina-target na individuals kasi ni-research din namin yung history ng school shooting sa Pilipinas. Hindi naman to yung mga una, no?
Yes.
In fact, alam ko graduate ka ng Ateneo, nagkaroon
Mhm.
ng fatal shooting sa Ateneo during a commencement, di ba?
Yes.
Pero
Grabe.
targeted yon, pero still it was a shooting, deadly shooting ng outsider. And then there have been other incidents by students pero targeted. May principal na napatay sa Lanao a couple of years ago, and then may ex-boyfriend na pumatay ng isang estudyante, etc. There are several
Yeah.
instances like that, no? So this is not the first fatal shootings in Philippine schools, but tinatawag siyang mass school shootings. No? So how would you describe these? What would make them different? And do you agree that so far that walang specific individuals na targeted dito? What do these two incidents within 2 months have in common?
I think siguro yung gusto niya highlight na compared sa mga previous na nangyari, ang pinaka-pinakaiba siguro ngayon ay multiple perpetrator na pareho minor de edad at nangyari to sa eskwelahan on a regular school day. Karamihan na pumasok sa eskwelahan ng mga araw na yon, napakalayo sa ideya nila that this could happen at all. With the commencement exercise, I was actually supposed to be there, pero plans changed. And yun, we knew that, okay, there was a political motivation there, may planning. These are just really kids looking to harm either someone or certain groups of people. And siguro sa pinagkaiba, kaya tinatawag sa mass shooting is di lang sa maraming namatay at hindi ganun lagi kasigurado kung sino yung talagang target, maraming saktan. So talagang nagsimula yung putukan, hindi lang to itong tao lamang, kundi may mga damay na ibang mga estudyante, ibang mga guro, mga security guard, at ibang mga tao sa loob ng eskwelahan din.
Okay, before we talk about the possible
Yeah.
root causes of this, no? Pag-usapan muna natin yung mga epekto sa
Yeah.
mga nakasaksi, sa mga survivors, no? How should we be handling this very sensitive situation now within these communities, these school communities?
Obviously, kailangan mo na make sure na safe ang lahat. Tama po ang ginawa ng ALSU, no, na nagtigil muna ng klase para unang magkaroon ng pagkakataon yung mga nakakulang tao, mga police, mga investigador to investigate what's happening in the school ground itself, but also in the school, but also give the school time to prepare their response. Kasi nga, kailangan bumalik ng mga estudyante eh. Pero at the same time, we do have parang non-negotiable to na kailangan magkaroon ng support, ng psychosocial support to the classmates, to the students affected, to the teachers, to the families of the students that are directly affected, whether na-injure man lang to or nasa vicinity. At the same time, kailangan magkaroon ng school-wide ngayon na pag-address sa violence na to.
Mhm.
Pero, Howie, kailangan ko lang i-highlight, no, hindi lang naapektuhan nito yung eskwelahan mismo. Pero, syempre, yung mga karating schools, yung mga magulang, yung buong komunidad basically apektado na. So, kayo din, kailangan may kakulang response, lalo na muna sa ating gobyerno, to make sure na maniwala ang lahat ng tao, whether bata o matanda, na safe puntahan ng kabataan ng eskwelahan.
Alam mo kasi minsan may tension between wanting to restore a sense of normalcy, no?
Yes.
Para sa yun nga mental health and balance ng mga estudyante, ng mga teachers, no? But at the same time, everyone knows this is not a normal situation, no?
Yes, yes.
And in fact, may their schools have become a crime scene. Is it possible to restore a sense of normalcy so soon after the incidents?
Medyo kailangan natin i-rebuild to. Dahil hindi lang to parang natumba o tatagili, talagang nawalat. Kasi imagine mo, parang these are your classmate mo yung nasaktan or namatay, or classmate mo yung gumawa ng mga ganitong mga bagay. How do you make sense of that? So kailangan unti-untiin. So, and I think how we siguro lalo for some of these kids, and medyo masakit to aminin, there's no going back to how things were. So it's about rebuilding a new sense of normal for them dahil nangyari na nga ito. And ganoon siguro din natin kailangan buhatin yung bigat ng insidente ito kasi nga sa mga kabataan ito, kahit sabihin natin matulungan natin sila sa simptomas ng masamang mental health na maapekto sa kanila, the fact that the memory is there, the experience is there, will be part of their lives here on out.
Yeah, and it's going to be part of our lives as well,
Yes.
no? Ang dami kong nakikita online na mga komentaryo na, I will never think of my school as a safe space again.
Yeah.
Because this could happen anywhere, you would think, no? I mean, it depends, of course, on how the investigators will eventually evaluate what happened, di ba? Ano ba talaga yung nag-trigger nito, etc., and whether that you can apply those reasons very widely. Pero alam ko, whenever these kinds of events happen in the United States, for example, where it
Yeah.
happens fairly frequently, marinig mo rin sa mga kapwa Pilipino na ay hindi yan mangyayari sa atin.
Yes.
Diba? Because it never really did happen. Yung mga ganong klaseng pamamaril sa schools, no? Yung mass shootings. In fact, my brother is a former high school principal, middle school
Mhm.
principal in the States, and they would have active shooter drills, no? And ako sa Pilipinas, I would think na wow, napakahirap ang trabaho nyo sa Amerika bilang mga administrators and teachers, no? But now, biglang humirap na rin ang trabaho ng mga administrator at teacher dito
Yes,
sa atin.
definitely.
No? So, are we now in a situation where we should expect this to keep happening because nandiyan pa rin naman yung mga conditions ng society natin. Ano bang tingin mo dito sa current social environment ng mga estudyante? Does that have anything to do with what happened?
Yung sinasabi namin mula ng Tacloban pa na hindi isang bagay lang nagtulak sa mga batang ito para gawin ang mga ito. And the social environment does affect things. Lalo nga na ang daming nagbago eh. And even nung kabataan ko, di ba, parang wala pa masyadong social media, may internet na, pero we were still playing outside, we were still able to do these things. We have to think na talagang may nagbago na nga ba talaga sa social environment ng kabataan. Lalo nga na ito rin yung mga kabataan na na-isolate dahil sa pandemya, they've been pushed a lot online. So, and mas mahirap i-navigate ang online space. Even till now, sa 2026, hindi pa rin gano'ng karami ang mga magulang na talagang fully aware kung paano supportahan ng kanilang mga anak on how to navigate this space. At the same time, iba na rin interest ng mga bata, iba rin yung social pressure, iba rin yung parang expectations sa kanila. I can't imagine growing up healthily if I had Instagram at the age that they have it now. Kasi sobrang daming pictures, sobrang daming mga messaging na paiba-iba that I have to go through at such a young age. So, really kids have it harder in terms of figuring themselves out. But at the same time, we do have to be concerned kasi nga, meron ba ibang mga aspeto na talagang nagtutulak pa para umabot sa ganitong punto ang mga aksyon ng ating kabataan ngayon.
These incidents happened within 2 months, no?
Mhm.
Posible bang copycat incident ito,
Yeah.
yung nangyari sa Zamboanga?
So based on information we know naman, parang, well, obviously, number one, ang mga investigador ang magde-determine yan. Kasi meron ba tayong forensic interviewing na kailangan gawin sa mga kabataan to see if there's any kind of commonality, if they found any inspiration or any kind of parang siguro idea mula sa Tacloban shooting. Pero kailangan parang kasi may tinatawag tayong contagion effect na one incident influencing others. And depending on kung saan nanggaling, kasi natin alam baka yung pagplano pala nitong shooting na 'to ay nagpe-predate pa sa nga sa Tacloban, una lang talaga yun. Or baka kung may ibang extenuating circumstance that push the children, push the kids to do it now, hindi natin pa masabi. Pero isa yun sa dapat tignan, na dapat iwasan, kaya talagang napakalaking bagay na tamang pagreporta sa mga ganitong insidente at tamang pag-uusap, parang tamang usapan. Kasi isa mga concerning thing, Howie, no, na napansin namin right after the incident is may mga videos talaga that weren't just showing glimpses or photos, but even full videos of what exactly happened, which could actually harm not just the people na nasa video, pero yung mga nanonood din, lalo na ating mga kabataan.
Mm. So anong tingin mo dito sa media coverage nito? Kasi that's really another way of
Yeah.
spreading this kind of information, and kaya rin nagkakaroon din ng copycat dahil din
Yes.
sa media coverage, hindi lang yung dahil sa mga online discussion, no?
Mhm.
You might have seen a recent statement by a media organization
Mhm.
saying that we should treat this tragedy as a suicide. Kasi mga media organizations, mga news agencies, no, we cover suicides
Yes. Mhm.
differently, precisely to prevent copycat incidents. And in
Yes.
fact, there are suicides that we don't even treat as news,
Yes.
simply because it
Mhm.
might trigger
Mhm.
people to think it's a solution to whatever
Yes.
they're going
Mhm.
through.
Yeah.
'Di ba? But in
Mhm.
this case, it's not just a suicide, it was also a killing, no? It was
Yes.
either a murder or homicide, no? So,
Mhm.
uh, and so it's been saturation
Mhm.
coverage, especially since we're still recovering emotionally, psychologically, culturally from the
Yes.
June incident
Yeah.
in Tacloban, 'di ba? Kumusta naman yung media coverage from where you sit?
I think very mixed, no? I think how may mga media partners tayo that are really doing it well. As you mentioned, treated like a suicide. Apart from that, also respect the fact that it involves children, mga kabataan. So tamang pagtanggal ng mga identifying information, pagrespeto sa pamilya, pagrespeto sa bata, mga involved, nagagawa. Pero ang masakit hindi lahat. We still see people highlighting news that are presenting theories even na hindi pa ma-verify. We've seen within the first few hours mga posts from certain outlets na we had to actually directly message them to reword it kasi it could really incite na may certain conspiracy here that we can tell, etc. etc. So, napakahirap pa kasi tama ka, actually may DOH guideline on media reporting for suicide. We've been doing those trainings since 2014, 15, parang lagpas dekada na actually, even longer pa nga for some other industries kasi may international guidelines din ito na ating ginagawa. And of course, reporting incidents regarding children, meron din tayong guidelines. And may mga bagay lang na nakita natin dito madalas na nafo-follow. At kailangan lalo na sa age na to, no, we have to also highlight, di naman lagi lahat traditional media ang nag-report. Meron na rin tayo mga influencers, social media, mga tao na nakikisosyoso lang, people online that found, let's say, mga deleted videos that are reposting it on their own personal pages. So actually, mas marami kami nakitang harm doon. Lalo nga na unang-una, walang filters, minsan walang blur ng mga mukha ng mga bata, which is part of ethical media reporting for children. At the same time, ngayon paglabas ng personal information or ng mga detalye tungkol sa mga pangyayari na baka either magaya or mas makasama pa sa mga tao.
Yeah, but what complicates this particular case is hindi lang to suicide, but there was
Yes.
also murder, no,
Yes.
killings, no.
Mhm.
So it makes it a lot more complex
Yeah.
in terms of coverage kasi
Mhm.
you don't wanna you may wanna treat it more sensitively because it's a suicide, but however may iba pang nangyari aside from a suicide, no. We do know that within youth culture, no,
Mhm.
maraming mga discussions na nangyayari online that adults, parents don't know
Mhm.
about,
Yeah.
teachers don't know
Mhm.
about, no?
Mhm.
So it's really going to be hard to know, no? Unless itong mga nag-iimbestiga, yung mga
Mhm.
nagre-research nitong mga tragedies na to ay mag-deep dive talaga sa mundo
Yeah.
na yon, right?
Mhm.
But as a psychologist who has handled itong mga crisis na ganito, no? Uh, it is possible for adults to go in there and really try to find out kung ano ba yung naging influence sa mga batang ito.
Yes, definitely. So, hindi naman bago gawin yun. Obviously, parents baka mas mahirapan no, dahil nga yung oras at yung culture, pero we've had issues before kasi di naman to yung natatanging concern sa online and digital safety nating mga kabataan. Ang ito lang talaga yung nag-reflect ngayon dahil sila ng bata na rin mismo. Dati kasi ang mas concern natin ay mga matanda na may masamang intent para sa ating mga kabataan, mga grooming, mga sexual harassment, sexual harm, mga ganung bagay. Yun yung pinaka-concern dati eh. Ngayon, kahit yung concern na radicalization, ini-issue na rin. Pero dito unang ano nga, dito unang salpak dito. Sa Pilipinas siguro dahil ito nakita natin malaking issue pero even nung Marawi crisis, for
Mhm.
example, natignan din ito na meron bang radicalization na nangyari sa ating kabataan online. And napaka kailangan importanteng i-highlight no na iba ang pagbabasa sa mga bagay that could talk about radicalization kasi nga even sa mga eskwelahan naman inaaral natin yan. Pero versus may tao talaga, may individual talaga, or individuals, a group of individuals that are inciting, nagtutulak sa isang tao na gawin isang bagay na hindi naman nila normal na gagawin. At yun yung mga bagay na siguro kailangan matignan, lalo na nga sa konteksto ng mga violence na parang palala ng palala nangyayari sa ating bansa, lalo na ito ay nagagaling o nagsisimula sa mga behavior o ginagawa ng ating mga kabataan.
Back to the response of the community, no? Nangyari ito sa Tacloban muna and then Zamboanga, and you have talked about the need for support, no?
Yes.
Support
Mhm.
within these school communities, no? But we know kulang-kulang ng guidance counselor sa mga
Yes.
schools nationwide. Itong this is a private school sa Zamboanga, so you assume that they do have professionals
Yes.
helping the administration and teachers handle this, no? But in the absence of
Mhm.
professionals in many other schools, kahit hindi ito
Mhm.
nangyari sa isang school, maaring nangangailangan din ng counseling yung
Yes.
mga estudyante doon and maybe even
Yes.
parents, no? Baka natatakot nga yung mga magulang na
Mhm.
papasukin nga yung mga estudyante. It adds another risk to going out of the house, no? Aside from the, flooding and everything else that can happen, no? What are the options now? Dahil ito, inaaral mo as a
Mhm.
crisis response specialist.
Una muna 'no, I think dito pumapasok nga na ang response ay hindi puwede kung nasaan lang ang ating energy. Kasi nga ngayon 'di ba 'pag may nangyari dun napupunta, dun natin natutulak lahat ng ating energy. Pero importante nga na una muna yung yung aftermath na tinatawag na kailangan obviously yung mga bata we talked about and as you mentioned rightfully na Ateneo de Zamboanga we like to have more resources. They're actually right now just to talk about it, getting support from other schools as well and other professionals apart from the PAP. We know that for sure we've extended our support to them na rin. But request nun, paano yung mga komunidad kung saan titirahan ng mga taong ito? Paano yung mga komunidad na baka walang masyadong resource, tama po kayo doon. So, as I mentioned sa Tacloban shooting, we have to have community resources available na hindi kinakailangan na professional ang magsisimula. Na yung mga ganitong usapan about basic mental health, about how do you support yung mga ating kabataan, lalo na ating mga teenagers. Teens having a safe spaces to talk about these things. Marami na naka-angkla pero I think ito na-highlight pa rin talaga na ito minsan ito yung cost na di tayo nakapag-prepare na maayos. So para sa disaster response, dapat mas maigting, may foundation yung preparation. And dahil nga alam naman natin kulang-kulang ang resource natin, whether in the guidances in public schools or private schools even, or in local community support sa ating mga tahanan, sa ating mga barangay, napakahina pa. Ito ngayon yung nangyayari kasi nga, ang mangyayari ngayon is syempre, sila din yung magtutulungan, yung komunidad na 'to. Pero kung walang tulong mula sa mas nakakaalam o sa mas may capacity or bandwidth na tumulong, hindi natin alam kung gaano kaganda or gaano kadali ang maging recovery ng mga apektado nito. At sinabi niyo nga kanina na ang epekto nito hindi lang naman sa mga nasa eskuwelahan, pero sa buong komunidad na. Kasi siyempre, kung kaya ito mangyari sa isang kilalang eskuwelahan, paano pa kaya yung mga nasa public? Paano pa kaya nasa ibang mga private schools din? So, mas mapag-isip-isip ngayon yung mga administration, yung mga administrador ng mga eskwelahan, at yung mga parents na dito. So, talagang may kailangan na messaging at talagang concerted effort, hindi lang sa Zamboanga or sa Tacloban or sa Leyte, pero sa buong bansa na i-address ang ganitong issue.
Okay, I wanna ask you about gaming, no?
Mhm.
Video games. It's been a part of this public conversation about deviant youth behavior, including these killings, no? And in particular, dito sa Zamboanga, may body cam daw yung
Yes.
killer, no? Ni live stream pa raw itong ginawa niya, no? And there have been appeals, of course, not to air this video. And then also in the Tacloban killings naman, shootings, itong dalawang minors doon, itong dalawang teenager ay na-radicalize daw online by a kind of a online, maybe underground, international extremist network, supposedly influence them to commit offline violence. May connection ba sa tingin mo itong gaming, itong ginagawa ng mga kabataan online at itong mga deadly consequences offline?
Kasi kami sa PAP, gusto nila messaging namin na ang online gaming ay hindi nagkakos ng violence in real life. Parang it could influence your behavior, it can make people more aggressive, pero at the same time, very mixed bag kasi ang gaming eh. Kasi meron din itong aspeto na nakatulong sa ating kabataan. Pero what we wanna highlight is, and ito nga yung lumabas sa Tacloban, is yung impact at influence naman ng online communities na hindi nga natin monitor, hindi na monitor ng ating mga magulang, ng mga tao, na baka doon mas magkaroon ng impact. Ito yun yung pang inaaral pa. Kasi hindi naman nga bago ang online radicalization. This has happened in many other countries. This has happened in countries that have struggled with yung mga bata na recruit sa mga mas terrorist organization. So dito yung gaming eh. Ito yung interactions in the online space. So whether through social media, whether through things like Telegram, Discord, yung mga ganong platform, or the chat of the games themselves. So hindi mo parang ina-unpack natin ngayon. Kasi dahil hindi natin alam, hindi natin kilala. Kasi syempre, pag nandaling gumawa ng account online, could be anyone, and many of these people, we don't know them. Some of them could have ill intentions, and this could be what's influencing. Kasi nga, ang gaming lang ay may mission ka, diba? You want to win, you want to beat your opponent. We've had this for 20 plus years. Yet, ngayon, ano yung nagbago? Itong social aspect ngayon ng mga laro ng online space kung saan mas nakatira na, mas nag-interact natin kabataan. As I mentioned earlier, 20 years ago, 30 years ago when I was growing up, yes, we had the internet, pero everyone was still mostly analog, offline. Text na siguro yung pinaka-advanced ng kabataan namin. Pero now we have children that are sometimes fully living their lives online. We've had clients na gano'n ang issue nila na they don't know how to socialize face-to-face, so they only interact online with people. And this can cause issues down the line. And paano na pagka may bad intentions na, tas very influenceable pa yung mga kabataan natin ngayon. So that's an angle that we are definitely looking into. The research is not as parang we're really unpacking it pa rin as we speak, pero that's something definitely to talk about, and which also leads us to talk to the platforms kung nasaan yung mga batang ito na ano ba yung paraan para i-make sure na safe sila doon dahil limitado yung hawak o yung exposure ng mga adults sa aspetong ito dahil syempre mundo to ng mga kids eh.
And of course, we can't forget that this is also the pandemic generation.
Yes, yes,
During a
definitely.
formative part of their lives, they were stuck at home and
Yeah.
online.
Mm.
That was their whole life. At home, no? Yung school, recreation,
Mhm.
socializing. So, binanggit mo yung socialization. There was very little face-to-face for many
Yeah.
months, no? We had one of the longest school closure shutdowns
Mhm.
in the world, no?
Yes.
So it prevented a lot of different kinds of development, di ba? So in a way, would you say this generation is still recovering from all of that?
Yes, although we do see naman may mga ibang bata who've had either better access to communities or resources that have been able to recover. Mas marami pa rin hindi. Napakarami pa rin hindi. And I think yun yung mga bata na nahanap ang home nila on the online space and have preferred to stay there rather than to mix and match as other kids would. Kasi ngayon wala naman denying eh. We need to be online. Part yun ng mundo ngayon. Pero yung pag-cultivate ng relationships, navigating what it means, resolving conflict, di ba? Pag may away tayo, how do we address that in person? If someone's bullying me, how do I address that in person? How do I seek support? Those are life skills na baka mas nahirapan ngayon mahanap or hinahanap na at a much later age, as a much later developmental stage than it normally would have formed prior to the pandemic.
Okay, so sa madaling salita, yung conclusive opinion mo is gaming does not necessarily result
Yes.
in deviant behavior or even murderous
Yeah.
behavior. Walang ebidensya
Mhm.
from all the research that you've seen na kahit itong bata sa Zamboanga ni live stream yung kanyang ginawa at may mga moves pa raw na may
Yes.
nagsasabi na
Mhm.
galing pa raw sa mga games, no?
Mhm. And I think dun yung kaya-highlight na this where ano yung naging insight sa kanya. Kasi we've had other kids copy what they see in games, pero it does not lead to violence. 'Di ba? Parang I remember mga nanonood ng mga nung panahon ko pa Slam Dunk or mga 'di ba yung mga cartoons pa 'no, ginagaya din nila, sisigaw pa nga nila yung moves na sisigaw sa pinapanood nila. Pero hindi naman 'to nagta-transform into this kind of violence. So we have to ask them, apart from yung online na pag-incite sa mga kabataan ito to do these things. Kasi nga, we also have to highlight in the online culture ngayon sa labas ng gaming ay ang usapan ng parang attention seeking. Kasi ba, if you want to get viral, if you want to get attention, that's why importante yung tamang reporting kasi nga you want to starve attention. Ayaw mong bigyan atensyon yung mga taong humihingi lang ng atensyon by doing this worse and worse things. And then, of course, kakibat din ito, how do these children have access to ways to be able to hurt so many people then?
I will ask you about that,
Yeah. Yeah.
but before I do, I wanna tackle kahit briefly itong
Mm.
may nagsasabing ano kulang tayo sa legal deterrent, no?
Mhm.
Kulang ng punitive consequences para sa mga kabataan na gumagawa ng ganito, and there have been calls to lower the minimum age of criminal liability. So, anong opinion mo dyan? Will that help if we consider, let's say, for example, itong mga 15-year-olds involved in these crimes, if they were prosecuted and maybe even imprisoned as like adult criminals?
I think what we see from the evidence is actually what not gonna help. Kasi lalo na yung call minsan to 10 years old pa nga, di ba? Na ito yung at that age, ano ba yung muwang ng bata talaga? And if you treat them as adults, kasi for both young people and adults, the goal, of course, of punitive systems is to still be rehabilitation. And pero we have to also highlight na kulang pa ang ating resources to be able to properly do this. In makipag-asas or detention centers, kulang ang resources for them for sexual support, kulang ang access to proper and consistent education, kulang ang access in rehabilitative socialization, mga ganung mga bagay. So, napakaraming, parang in the crisis that we have, can we actually say that we're doing right by the people, the 15-year-olds and up? na napupunta sa itong mga sistema na nga, or even those younger. At the same time, you have to highlight na it is also gonna be too late. Kasi ang point ng punitive is you punish them after the fact. And we've seen din naman na parang bilang bata, diba? How much you have shitting of the consequences. Very short-sighted pa. Parte ng kabataan. Na this deterrent feels like it's a parang a cop-out. Parang we're scapegoating. Rather than doing the messier work, which is addressing the core issues and the core gaps na nasa sistema pa natin ngayon.
We haven't discussed guns yet, no?
Yes.
That's often the, kumbaga, elephant in the room. Madalas mong marinig na, yun nga, games are to blame, video games, digital lifestyles, itong online radicalization and bullying and all of that, no? Pero nangyayari lahat yan sa maraming bansa. I don't think any society is immune from mental health issues, from bullying, digital lifestyles. These are all global trends,
Yes.
right? Gaming, I mean, kids in Scandinavia, and I mean, everywhere. But you don't find school shootings in many other countries.
Yes. Yeah.
But you find a lot of them in the United States. And it's probably no coincidence that in the United States, there is widespread access to guns,
Mhm.
and also in the Philippines.
Yes.
Kasi so far, yung mga facts of the cases that have emerged here in Tacloban and Zamboanga is may mga barel sa bahay, no? Yung isang barel sa Tacloban ay it belonged to a relative.
Yeah.
And
Everyone
then,
on, yeah.
and then dito sa Zamboanga, yung isang barel ay, yung barel ng itong shooter ay pagmamay-ari ng kanyang ama, no? And they were licensed. These were not
Yes.
illegal firearms, no?
Yeah.
They were apparently licensed. In fact, they were the guns of law enforcers, no? So is there data? Is my hunch correct? That all these other issues that we've been discussing, itong mental health issues, yung kakulangan ng guidance counselors. I mean, yes, they are legitimate issues that should be addressed, but maybe we're barking up the wrong tree. Kasi nga, we're talking about killings, no?
Yeah.
We're not just talking about bullying, yung nagsusuntukan sa basketball court, no? I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about kids with deadly weapons, no?
Yes.
So these would not have happened in our society, siguro, if there was not also widespread access to firearms.
I think you're correct. So, nung nangyari yung Tacloban shooting, we had to double check the literature. Kasi nga, of course, to prepare for this kind of conversation. And ang nakita namin is lahat ng may talagang data lang talaga or resource is the US. Because of the things that you've said. Other countries, they've had it in the past, like Australia, for example, pero the moment that they made their gun laws stricter, nawala. And importante na highlight na even yung problema ng kakulangan sa mental professional, this is a global problem. Karamihan ng ating katabing bansa sa ASEAN, for example, even Singapore, needs more mental professionals. This is well documented, clear yun. Pero again, we're not seeing the same issues. Are we talking about then na are we too lax now about our gun safety? Kasi nga ngayon, we're asking the kids na mag-active shooter drills. We're asking the kids to take the burden. Pero dapat ata mo una na do we need to talk to all the adults? So tingnan ulit yung ating mga may-ari ng baril. Lalo na nga sabi niyo nga ho, law enforcement pa, na do we need to take it one step further or multiple steps further na make sure na whenever we have a deadly weapon na po, na ito ay safe, ito ay nakasecure. At hindi lang po kasi ito issue of violence in the community. We do know that na even for example, bilang psychologist and as a practitioner who specializes in suicide prevention, na even for example, incident suicide increases the more that the country has, the more that the people have access to guns. Kasi mas nagiging fatal ang mga attempts ngayon. So, napakarami talagang mental health, napakaraming plus points if we really parang go back and look at how do we secure and how do we become more responsible as gun owners in the country.
Okay, well, nabanggit mo yung Australia, nagkaroon ng school shooting doon, and then they cracked down on gun access. Nangyari din sa UK, nagkaroon ng shooting, they cracked down on gun access. I think there's also a case in Korea, right? They became very strict in their gun control, and wala nang naganap na mass school shootings as far as your research is
Yes.
concerned, no? And
Um,
this has happened
yeah.
also in other countries. I know it's happened in Finland, and then nagkaroon din ng gun. So, kasi ang dami ngayong proposals for solutions, no? Like restricting gaming,
Yeah.
ito ngang, making minors liable for criminal actions, treating them like adults, etc. Pero ang lumalabas na effective solution to prevent this from happening is really restricting access to guns
Yeah.
legally and socially. I mean, in society.
And I think, di ba, parang we have to, kasi before, tanda ko pa, parang when I was a kid, yung mga parang pellet gun. And there was a time where they were even so restrictive about selling those. So parang, I think ngayon, ang bibili mo natin would be Nerf guns, which is mahal pa nga eh. Na, I think we do have to have this conversation. Lalo nga na, as you mentioned, the rising concerns with children is a global issue. Hindi lang tayo to, ang mga social media platform, their headquarters are not based in the Philippines. So there really needs to be parang things that we do. Pero I think overall, how we have to also remember before we put the burden on the kids. Kasi the things about restricting gaming, about lowering the criminal liability, na lahat to ay putting burden on the children. Pero should we look at us mismo bilang adults? Bilang yung may autonomy, yung may kaalaman, may awareness at may power na i-change ang sistema. Na sa atin muna dapat ang burden to help make sure na safe ang ating kabataan at ang mga paraan na either influence sila negatively, either to digital spaces, or makuha sila ng kagamitan na masakit sa ibang tao, tulad ng mga barel o tulad ng mga patalim, ay ma-restrict natin dahil nasa atin yun eh. Parang may power tayo doon bilang mga adults.
Yeah, kasi nga may nagsasabi na even if gaming leads to aggression, and even deviant behavior, aggressive, it doesn't necessarily will lead to violence, but aggression combined with access to guns makes violence much more likely.
Yeah, and much more fatal. And we've seen interventions for that, like sports, for example. For children who have emotional dysregulation, pasali mo ng basketball, teach them discipline, teach them teamwork, di ba?
Yeah.
And we've had ways. This is not the first time we've dealt with kids struggling with some of these issues. It's just that now we're so less aware, but at the same time now they also have access to these things that we couldn't have thought of beforehand.
We've covered this sad subject quite comprehensively. So we want to thank you, AJ Sunglao, a clinician, psychologist, a member of the Psychological Association of the Philippines. And thank you for speaking out on these tragedies and thinking of solutions so they don't happen again. Maraming salamat at mabuhay ka.
Thank you so much, Boy. Hopefully how we talk about something better the next time we speak.
Thank you, Podmates, for listening and watching until the very end of this episode. Alam nyo na, nakakatalino ang mahabang attention span. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and binge watch our episodes. Mabuhay kayo at ingat lagi.